Welcome back to the channel, and yeah, here is some more of the Angel Share Whisky Distillery narrow gauge. So yeah, at the bottom of that strut for the bridge, I've put some ground cover in, a little bit of water round about it, still to work on the loch, and basically some more grass tufts, some gorse bushes, and some longer grass as well, some clay brown wash mixed into the concrete areas to dull that down a bit. So very happy with how it's coming together. But the one thing that was kind of glaringly obvious was this entrance was all black. There was no markings on it, so it'd be a hazard at night time, as it were. So I painted 3 stripes on it, and I think it looks a lot better. So the whole overall scene is coming together. Very happy with it. Got fencing and that to put in. There's some other finer details to put in, and obviously some people. But when I put the lights on, it just adds a whole different tone to it. The colours are more muted, and it just has a nice kind of warm glow. So happy with the lighting. There's maybe one more piece of lighting I might put in between the engine shed and the whisky distillery itself. Along that little straight there, I might put one in because it's a bit dark between the end of that and the start of the whisky distillery car park area. I've been having some fun doing some shunting. It's actually working out okay, just figuring out the stock that works best, going through the points and the sidings and etc. And it's just nice to get kind of trains running. Now the track's all cleaned, still to finish the scenery, still to work on the back scene, the kind of intermediate back scene, and then the kind of sky back scene that's going behind it, paint the fascia, some finer details, people and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, let's get trains running. Need a wee proper device for unhooking the stock, as it were. I've also fixed this platform edge here. It was a little bit poking out and stock was getting caught on it, so I've trimmed it back and then painted a straight white edge on it so you don't notice that it's actually slightly at an angle. Again, I just need a little device to help me hook up the stock. As usual, as soon as you get the camera on. There we go. That's it. This is all kind of live, spur of the moment, just to show you trains moving. I actually haven't kind of worked a specific shunting schedule here. This is just kind of moving stock about. Then we can take up to the engine shed if we wish. I really like this Fourdees Peveril Diesel 040 loco body kit for the 109 chassis from Kato. It looks great. I had to cut all the little sprues between the handrails off, and then I eventually dug out the right paint I wanted for it, which is a BR maroon, and that is one that's used in the class 52. It's a really nice colour, so I thought, yeah, let's spray this up. So I got the first coat on, and it took quite well. First time using enamels and some thinners. It worked out no bad in the long run. Tiny little run in the side there, but you don't really see it. And then I painted the chassis black all round, including the bumpers or the buffers, should I say. And then I done the handrails and aluminium silver as well as the window frames. I done the roof matte grey initially, and then I decided to change up the roof to do it more kind of black colour. And I like the look of that. The little horn is silver, and I like the paint job. I just think it looks really classy. So I painted the interior a little bit, a kind of dark grey and some silver on the seats and the controls, just so there's something that you see, but the windows are quite opaque, so you won't see much detail on the inside, but I've just got a couple of drivers to put in there as well. And the Kato chassis is fitted. You've got to take the plastic cover off the Kato chassis, and then it fastens in with those two grey pins, kind of hold it in place. And yeah, very happy with it. It looks amazing. It's one of the best 3D kits I've ever got. Very happy with it. The only issue is that when I'm trying to run it, it sometimes kind of stop starts, so I just need to check the positioning of the Kato chassis inside the local body shell. It's a relatively new chassis, so it's needing running a little bit as well. A little bit jittery. Usually run a bit smoother than that. The running issues I was having was due to the chassis being the wrong way around. I re-checked the instructions, and there is an arrow on the underside of a Kato chassis, and it said that must be facing towards the cab, and it wasn't. So I've turned it round, I've put it in the correct way, I've started doing the glazing, only got the door windows to go, and that's pretty much it. Some wee extra details, and then finish off putting the couplers in. Yeah, it is running nice and smooth. That was the reason I picked that Kato chassis, because I did test run it before I designated it for this loco. So very happy with it. Just need to finish it off and then do some shunting with it. If you're interested in 3D kits and Kato chassis, then I highly recommend Fourdees. Top notch, very pleased with them. Well, I enjoyed building the first Fourdees, the Peveril diesel shunter that's still to get finished off. Still got the brake vacuum pipes to do, some little lanterns. I think I've got a toolbox and an oil can still to go on this. So that's the windows in. There is a little driver in there, but you can't see him because the windows are opaque. But looks good, very happy. So this is the new one I got. Again, great price, details on it are phenomenal, as you can see there. So very happy with this one as well. It's a lovely looking little shunter with that kind of saddle tank, water tank on it, a little coal bunker on the side, some extra details with it. You can see some detail in there as well. So really like these 3D shells. I've got a couple of Kato 109 chassis coming, so one of them will get fitted to this, and we'll see what colour we're going to paint it. Half tempted to do that colour again because I really like it. I don't know, I'll see. But yeah, another addition to the fleet. And for the 109 chassis, perfect little loco body shell, a little steam shunter, which will be ideal due to the fact that we have coal and a water tower and stuff, so it makes sense for this as well. I like how it eventually turned out. Added some lamps, toolbox and a little bucket. I think it looks pretty cool, so very happy with it. It's an ideal little locomotive for the steam side of things on this layout. Working on the back scene now and looking at how to support it. So I've got these wooden pieces that will fasten to the base on the opposite side. And the back scene will then probably have some form of glue between that and that rather than put any screw holes in here. For when the back scene goes on, I don't want it to be able to see the head of a screw or something in there. So I'll probably do something to glue these to that, but they will be fastened at the bottom. So there'll be 2 screws in there. The same with this one here, but 2 screws at the bottom there, and then the end piece, 2 screws. And at the very end, you've got these pieces that will help support the end pieces, and then the top of them, 2 of them, will then offer the support for the little roof that's going to go on it as well. I'm thinking of running basically a beam of wood all the way along for it to sit on, and hopefully it doesn't bow too much. But yeah, getting there piece by piece and slice by slice. We'll assemble this. We'll get the back scene actually glued on there before we start attaching it. Don't want to be trying to fit it with this building in front, so the back scene will all be done, then it'll be attached, then the roof will go on, and then I'll figure out the LED lighting that's going to go underneath it and how I'll wire that up. I've got this ID back scene forested hill, as you've seen earlier, as a test on this. What I'm going to do is cut off this white edge. I'm going to leave the top white edge because you're not going to see that really, to be honest, because of the roof that's going on it. And the bottom part doesn't need cut because it will be hid behind the actual baseboard. So I'll cut this end bit off and then follow instructions and apply the back scene adhesive View glue backscene adhesive. So I just got the right gear for that was recommended, and we'll get that on, get it stretched out. Hopefully it fits nicely in this area here. That's the rest of it there. So we'll get that on there, trim it up, and to be honest, I don't think I'm going to be doing the side plates with any scenery on it. I think I'm just going to leave them black and just have the scenery on the back. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So we'll get this cut and pasted down. That's the back scene glued down using the back scene glue. Started off dipping the brush in it and started kind of rubbing it on, but it was not working quick enough. So I basically just poured the fluid on the back of the paper and then brushed it all over quickly. So some little kind of creases here. Going to see if I can buff them out. And that's it basically. Wanted something that looked kind of hilly and tree-like, and I think that'll fit the bill perfectly. Again, it's just a quick build. It's not like what they would maybe term as a legacy build. It's not going to have the element of detail in it that I would maybe do on a long-term project. This is just a summer project. And we're getting there. So the back scene's on. I just need to see about the space between the buildings and this, how off-putting it might look with just got the buildings and trees right behind it, trying to put in some sort of kind of paper cutouts on this that would suggest buildings, and then that would be a little bit further behind. So we'll see. I'll get some prints made up, stick them on and try it out before I actually fasten it all together. But yeah, there's the back scene on, glued on. Happy with that. I like the look of it. That's me got my bits together for attaching the back scene supports. So they'll be going on here. So I'll be drilling 2 holes at the bottom in order for it to go into the wooden base of the baseboard. So we're going to have 4 of these along the back. So I'll drill the holes, get them marked, and then I'll place in the back scene and basically put these screws in and hold it in place. So I've got the 4 battens made up. You can see 3 on screen. This other one is a little bit shorter, so there's a hole right near the edge, which is that one over there. So that batten there will have to be raised up so it matches the height of these other ones here, because out of the length of wood I was just shy of having 4 full lengths, and I wasn't going to chop up another full length for the sake of that. And all I need to do is just lift that to the little lines that I've marked on there. So that'll sit about yay high, and that'll be level with the rest of it for where the roof can get attached. So we'll get the base, the back scene in place, and then start fastening these to hold it in place more securely. So you can see the lines there, and then when I match these lines up to it at the side, that way, even though there's a gap at the bottom, means the top of it will be able to meet the roof that gets fastened to it. So you can see there the lines on the side. Once they line up with that, should be perfectly positioned. Fingers crossed. What I'm going to have to do in this bottom corner in order to kind of keep it square, because the baseboard's sitting on this bit of plywood which isn't perfectly straight. So if I put my fingers under there, that's it exactly at the bottom. That's exactly at the bottom of it. So I'm going to put a little screw in just to hold it in that corner. so it's perfectly square. So that's it now, perfectly square. So when I go to attach the batten, I know this is the bottom of the layout, and that the back scene isn't sitting on here, and that would give it a 10mm angle where it would be sitting skew. So carry on, get the battens put on and fasten it in place now. So yeah, trying to screw these types of screws straight through. They aren't proper wood screws, just screws I've got handy. I've got plenty of them, and I just use them up in little jobs like this to get them out of the way. So what I've done is basically I'll line this up accordingly so it's sitting where it's supposed to go. So that's the first screw fastened properly. So now that's in place, I can drill the next pilot hole. And get the next screw. So that is now fastened that securely. And obviously there's a little bow in it there, so I might use some clamps and glue to maybe hold that in place. I didn't want to put any screws in this here because I felt as though that once lift that a bit higher, once we're up on the roof part up here, there we go. Once we're on this roof part that's in there, I'll have a way of holding that in once the roof's in place. So see how it goes. That's the first batten in. I'll carry on and do the rest, and I'll get back to you when I've finished it. This is the roof portion of the box. The way it's going to work is that strap of wood will go on top of this through those centre lines on either side, and that will rest on these with the underside fastened to the roof. I'll fit that in, basically put that on, and it should hold it square and upright, and then I'll look at maybe putting some form of valance on it as well. That's the idea there, is just a screw at that end and a screw at that end in order to hold that in place. So once all this is pulled in square and that sits square, it should be fill in the gaps. Definitely not the best woodworker in the world, but it's practical, it works. So that strip of wood will fasten onto those end battens, and that will support the roof, and it'll keep it relatively straight rather than sagging in the middle. So I just need to paint stuff. So I've got the end plates on, probably paint those battens black, probably paint that black as well. As you can hear, it's quite windy here just now. And the underside I'll have to do like a sky blue or something. So yeah, that's the frame and pretty much everything together, but before I fasten it all together I want to go on with some painting. Went to an ironmonger's and picked up these little brackets, 1 inch 90-degree brackets, which help hold the back scene against the battens. And it's nice and tight now. It's pretty secure, pretty solid. These shouldn't be visible once the roof's on and the valance is in, unless you're really low level and you're looking up into the scene. but I don't think we'll be able to have shots like that of it anyway. But yeah, that's the back scene on. We just need to get it turned round and face on. Next job is spray painting the roof, which is over there, and we've got this blue paint that we'll use as sky, and then maybe spray some white over it and stuff like that to create a kind of cloud effect so it just isn't a flat blue. I know you can see these hinges on the back scene holding it in place, but what I will be doing is putting in some form of valance on the roof here, where the LED lighting will be on the underside, and that'll cover that. So there will be something. I would just put that there, this bit I would, just to kind of get the idea of the roof covering kind of at an angle where it would sit, how far down I need to come in order to attach it to the roof panel over there, and find a way of wiring the LED in. Maybe run it out at the top, make a notch up here, and run the cable out that way, and then just have an LED strip all the way along, kind of lighten it up. A coloured one, obviously, so we can get different flavours, blues and reds and all that sort of stuff. I just like kind of messing about with LED lighting on a layout. But yeah, that's the back scene and side panels in. I will wait to put the roof on because I've got stuff I want to do on here first, so I need access to all that before I put the roof on. But I'll get the LED sorted next and take it from there. This is the LED light strip that I got. That's the power cable and the LED strip. Now the length of it goes from there to about there. So it's just in the middle of the layout, not end to end, which I'll be quite happy with. That's all I need, just a little bit of overhead light for when I'm doing my shunting. So still to fit the roof in place. I know these corners are a mess, a little bit angle, a gaffer tape will hide that. Otherwise, not too fussed about the end pieces not having scenery on it. I tend to think as though we're looking through a window into this type thing, so I prefer having the dark frame rather than a 90-degree angle of trees at a 90-degree angle or a really tight curve. Didn't think it would work too well putting a tight curve in here, so I just thought leave that black and just have that whole bit as a back scene. So I have this little bracket here, and that'll get fastened into the roof, and then along the front of it I will run maybe a panel valance about A high painted in the sky blue, and behind it will be the LED strip lighting up the back scene. Again, we're just making this up as we go along and using the parts that we have without going to too much expense, and we'll see how it works. Obviously I flip it round, this power cable will attach from that end because it needs flipped round 180 degrees. So we'll carry on with the next part, get the valance cut, get it painted, and then get it attached to these brackets just to hold it in place, because there's no weight on it, 2 brackets is plenty for it. So that's the sky panel done. The shortest screws I had were these, and they're poking through on that side because of the clip that's supporting them. I wanted that hidden, didn't want a metal clip on that side. Could I maybe use some sort of double-sided tape or something, but I just fired screws in to hold it in place. I don't really have any double-sided tape or anything like that, but that's the sky panel done, and the LED will go in at the back there. So let it finish drying, then I'll put the LED on and we'll give it a wee test run and see how it looks. That's the lighting wired up now, the LED. That's the kind of, I think it's a soft white or an orange, I'm not too sure, but I've also put the lights on that are wired into the layout, and I like the overall effect and the feel of it. I think that's worked out okay. As I said, that's a blue under there with a little valance to hide the LED, and some black electrician's tape to hide the gap between the strip and the roof that was showing the LED lights through. So getting there, just need to put the buildings and all that back in, finish off the top of it, spray that black, and that'll be it pretty much frame wise done. Paint the fascia and just carry on with some scenery. add some more details. The end plate off because, as you can see, there's a lip just here. Get that focused right. There's a lip. So when the board's against it, it's forcing it out at an angle. See that? And it should be square against that end. But told you I'm not the best joiner in the world or woodworker, so that could have been a little bit more flush. So I'm going to have to raise that surface there in order to have the board sit flat and not at an angle. It was annoying me when it was coming all the way up the top and you could see it kind of bowed out. And also it lets me access this area here to do this little bit of fencing as well. You can now see this end is a lot squarer than it was before, doesn't bow out as much. I've got some little 90-degree clamps that I can put on there to fasten that in. And I'll just do the same with this side so you can see the difference. It did look like that, and now it looks like that. So a lot better, a little bit of tidying up, and quite happy with how that's turned out. That's the end panel on now, and you can see it's a lot neater, a lot straighter as well. And we've got a couple of screws in this little clamp. I've done them on the inside so they're not poking out, and I'd more likely that I would catch myself on them. Overall, I'm very happy with the build so far and how the back scene, the side plates and the roofs all come together with the LED lighting in the various tones, kind of light blue. We also have, this is actually a white, it's got a hint of green on it for the camera for some reason, but I like the back scene. I know it's a bit of a weird cut between the roof and the trees. I will try to do something to amend that, but otherwise I like it. I like the back scene, I like how it all looks, and gave the track a quick clean and it's all running, so yeah. All coming together, trees and all that to be placed and the rest of the scenery to be done, but it certainly is coming together. Some fine details, some more detritus put about the area, and overall I'm happy with it. The layout is developing nicely, so thanks again for tuning in to part 7 of the Angel Share Whisky Distillery layout. I'll catch you in the next one.